Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Um,
my pleasure.
Darren Magarro, president of DSM. We are a full service marketing firm based in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Been doing this for 18 years, 18 plus. It was 18 years in February. Seeing many iterations of the world, both good, bad, everything in between. But yeah, we're a 16-person agency. My background was I came out of Manhattan as a media buyer for big agencies working on national clients like Toyota and Lexus and Scion and Jim Beam and Puma. Had a really great experience. Got married in '05 and wanted to do it here. I was commuting into the city and it was just a lot. It was, super stressful. And my wife and I got married, wanted to start a family, and always kind of knew that we were going to be based around here. Her family's got a 120-year-old sixth generation quarry business. So,
Whoa.
yeah, so I always kind of knew I was tethered here and just wanted to make it happen. And by the grace of God, it's been awesome. Had a great group of people, and we've grown, through relationships and mainly doing good work, improving ourselves out. And here we are today, 18 years later.
Nice. That's amazing. I'm sure it went by in like a blink of an eye as well.
It's it's like having children. It's like what people tell you about having kids when they're young and they've already gone through like the gamut. Like
hmm
every day is an eternity, but every year feels like it's like a blink of an eye. So it's a little bit of both. I'm incredibly blessed. I I joke some days because we've never taken funding from anybody. We've done it
hmm
basically bootstrap the entire thing since day one. And I don't know how we did it. I didn't when I started it, I didn't know what I was doing. Like no joke. Like
hmm
I had a client from my old agency who's my best friend now, and he came with me. He goes, if you start your own thing, I'll come with you. And that was all I had, and that's kind of how we kicked it off and just did really good work. And through serendipity, found good people. Now 18 years on, there's been a lot of people that have worked here, some that are still here, some that don't. But we, yeah, we've got an incredibly good group of people that are, good human beings and really passionate about what they do. So.
hmm Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And what services do you guys offer?
So we're full service. The majority of what we do is creative and digital. My background was in television, so we also do traditional media buying.
Mm.
It's not a lot of what we do now. We're more based on like ROI and ROAS and all the acronyms that are, associated with digital marketing. Um, but yeah, it's mainly creative, mainly digital marketing around. We're vertical agnostic, so we have everything from a men's clothing store all the way to a national healthcare client that's owned by Cigna, and kind of everything in between. But a lot of what we do is based on, you know, a KPI and a benchmark, and it's here it is. We have to get to this. We tell them what they need to do. We execute it from the strategy, the execution, and then the reporting and analytics. And then by quarter, we, you know, um, row the boat in the same direction as them to get to their usually financial goals or whatever the benchmarks are for success.
hmm Nice.
Yep.
And so how did you get traction in the business? Sounds like you had the one solid client.
Yeah.
How did you grow from there?
Um, how did we get traction? When I say that when I started this, it's a funny story. So basically, I left my old agency. I bought my laptop. It was like, I don't know how old you are, but like Jerry Maguire. I don't know if you remember that movie. It's
Yeah,
weird.
of course.
Jerry Maguire, you don't know with like some of the younger people. They're like, you remember Jerry Maguire? And they that's so
Oh.
instead of like walking out with the goldfish, I walked out with my laptop and my wife and mother-in-law were away on vacation and there was an IKEA right by my old agency and I went and bought furniture and I put it together and set it up. And they called during dinner time, and basically I was like, I'm starting my own agency. And they were out at dinner down in Florida, and there was like 3 minutes of silence. And they were like, "Are you starting in like a year? Like, not, do you have a business plan?" I'm like, "No, I just went to IKEA and bought a desk and like a laptop, and I'm ready to go." And I was like, and Ralph decided to move with us. My buddy Ralph, who did my first client, Salaretta. I was like, Ralph's coming with us, so we're like highly successful already. We have a client. And 18 years later, they're still a client of ours. And they're going on, this is their 50th year of business. They have a family run business. So Ralph and I kind of came into the family bit, or he came into his family business, and I was starting this, and we've kind of taken it and run with it together. Um, but that was the traction. It was really just getting a project. A lot of the early clients that we had, I grew up in a small town here in New Jersey called Wyckoff, New Jersey, and my parents moved here in 1980. So my mom still lives in the town, and we live in the next town over. So a lot of the local business owners have known me since I was like in grade school. So I went out when I started this and I was like, "Hey, my friend Jay, who owned a chocolate shop." I'm like, "Jay, let me do something for you." And he was like, I think people like felt bad for me. They were just like, "Oh, okay, like, what are you doing here?" They're like, I was like, "We can do a print ad in a local newspaper." And so that's how it kind of started.
Hmm.
We got these little projects, did signage for the Wyckoff florist, or, somebody gave us something. We had no clue how to do it. Because again, my world and my background was coming from Toyota, Lexus, and Scion, buying national television, like commercials in the Super Bowl for like
Hmm.
3 million, $4 million. So it was very different. But people people trusted in me that like knew me since I was a kid. We had a small group of people back then, team of three. We did the project, we did it well, and then they gave us something else, or they told another person about us, that had another local business, and that's how it kind of grew. And to this day, we don't have a head of sales. Like, I'm sort of the head of sales, and
Hmm.
I'm the first person that like, everything's great when things are going great. Now that we have a team of 16 people, I always say it, all of our clients, we probably have 20 clients now. All of our clients have my cell phone number. So when things are going great, everything's great. Like, not, nobody gets phone calls, this, whatever. The first phone call when something goes pear-shaped is me. And so
Hmm.
that's, kind of like the first person you meet when you talk to us. That's me. I do an intro call, and then if, something goes wrong, it's usually me. But I the best way to explain DSM is, we're very lucky to be close to New York City. So we're sort of an enclave for New York City expats,
Hmm.
folks that had very successful careers in Manhattan, but wanted work-life balance. Like, we're just close enough where if you go to the city on a Saturday, it takes like 25 minutes. If you try to go at like 7 a.m. on a Tuesday, it takes like an hour and a half.
Oh man.
So, it's the people that do the grind into the city, it's a haul. So, we have like our CFO worked at JP Morgan, but she had kids, and when she had kids, she didn't want to go back to the city. And our COO worked for Dentsu and Condé Nast, and she now has kids. One's going to be a freshman in college next year. The other is going to be a sophomore in high school. When she started working for us 8 years ago, they were in grade school, and she was putting in like 18-hour days at Condé Nast and didn't want to do it anymore. And so, my my take on it is, we're punching, with regards to the people we have here, we're punching well above our pay grade for an agency our size. But we try to create an environment that, I hope the people here know that if they need time with family, if something, if there's a health emergency or something like that, like, we're big enough where we can cover for each other, but we're also small enough that like there's not like 50 personalities to deal with. So
Hmm.
it's We're in a really good. I like where we are. I like managing a team between like 15 and 20 people. It's just big enough for everybody to help and cover for each other, where there's like layers of help if somebody needs to be out or something like that. But you're not dealing with like 25, 30, 50 personalities where it just gets to be too much. Um, then it becomes,
Hmm.
at least in my opinion, it becomes too much. I don't really enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. You got a good team environment. Everybody's friendly.
Yep.
Can you tell me about your first hires and why you made them?
The first hires, so the first two were actually my ex-partner, who was our creative director. So in that case, I started in February '07, and he came on in January, full-time January '08. So it was funny. I was working out of my house as like kind of an account person, needing a creative person because we were doing a lot of traditional media. And he was working out of his house as a freelance designer and needed an account person. So we, kind of like merged together. We saw the fit. It worked really well in that we were helping one another. And we worked together for like 11 and a half years. We parted ways in 2019. Um, and he built a team up. So like our creative team, like our creative director now, he brought in and whatever. So we had that. And then the second one, when I say serendipity, Christine was kind of our account manager. Like I need an account manager. So I joined the board of an animal shelter as like a nonprofit. And she was working for an agency that had just lost a ton of business and was like, I need another job. And I was like, I need an account manager because I'm definitely not like, that's not my strong suit. And so the three of us kind of came together, and that was probably 2009, 2010.
Mhm.
And then it went from three people to five people, from five people to seven people. I added another partner who I bought out in 2018, I went to high school with him. He started the digital side of the agency back in like 2014. Um, and then really that was like the dawn of digital marketing, like exploding. And we grew from 5 to 22 by like 2017, moved into a new office, and now we're out of like COVID hit, and now we got out of the last 5 years of our lease in that office back in 2022. Um, yeah, it's been a wild ride, but that's kind of how it started. It was just meeting people through relationships. Like I've always been really good at relationship building, and
Hmm.
that's how it kind of all started. It was serendipitous. That's the best word that I can use. Like people
Yeah.
meeting each other at the right time, or people needing to like other people in their lives at the right time. And that's just how it kind of came together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Do you guys still and everybody works from home or do you have an office? How does it work?
We're remote now, so we don't
Okay.
have an office. Like we don't have an office space. We have a, video production partner that has a space that if we need to do it, like the teams still get together. Like out of the 16, like one team is four people, the other is three, and the account managers are five. So if they need to get together, like we'll rent out, Northern Bound, the name of the company is Northern Bound Productions. So we'll go to their office. We'll say to Nick, hey, we need the office for a day. Uh, whatever it is, $100 a day or $150 a day. And they'll go in and they'll use the office, to meet. But yeah, everybody works from home now.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
It, it,
That seems like such a win-win. Like lower overhead, everybody's like comfortable.
well, it's interesting you say that. So I think there's a dual dynamic here. So for the young people in the agency, the younger hires that we have, I think it's a disservice because when I
Mm.
was young in my career, I learned a lot from being together with a group of people, and there's a camaraderie you build. Um, on the other side of it, a lot of the like where I am in my life now, I'm 48 with kids, like flexible schedule, whatever. For those of us in that part of our lives, it's fantastic because you can be home if you have a sick kid. You can pick up your kids from school. You can go to games. You can, you know, it's different.
Hmm.
So I have, a lot of young people that like want to work for us. I kind of, not that I steer them away, but I'm like, go get experience, like go work in Manhattan, go into an office. There's something to be said for that environment and learning in that environment, especially at an
Hmm.
advertising agency, because if you can drink from that hot fire hose early in your career, like you'll be able to handle anything. Like in our world with advertising, back in my, I joke now, like we were joking before the call about, having my wife's family out and drinking 3 days straight. Like I used to go weeks straight. I used to work 48 hours at like a clip and be fine and show up back in the office at like 8 o'clock in the morning and in my 20s. And there's something to be said for that environment. I still talk to some of those people that were my friends in the early part of my career.
Hmm.
And so I think there's something to be that's, to be said for like learning in that environment and learning from like drinking from a fire hose that it's a lot of work and it's a lot of responsibility early in your career. But if you get the chance to do that when you're later on in your career, everything will feel easier. It's like practicing a sport. My son's in the 8th grade and he plays football and lacrosse. I'm like, dude, push yourself in practice. The games will be easy. It's kind of like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So, um, you said you're vertical agnostic. You started clients, friends, and family.
Mm.
You've obviously grown a ton since then. How do you find how did you find bigger clients after those folks, and how do you find clients today?
Uh, a lot of it is relationships. We just started two new pieces of business last week on May 1st. Both came through relationships, previous client relationships. We had another sales presentation on Friday through an old client of ours that has moved on to another job, and wanted us to throw our hats in the ring at this new gig that he's in for a marketing agency. Um, a lot of it is done through relationships, and to the credit of the team, the work that they do, um, is really our team does really well at not only doing the work, but forming a relationship with these folks. So a lot of them just become friends. If they get let go from a job, they'll like call us, I need a reference, or, um, you know, I'm looking at a new job. What do you think about this? If I take it, would you guys throw your hats in the ring to do the marketing? Because frankly, I know you guys do good work and I'm comfortable with the team. Like we're a shop. The people that you see on our website today, they've all been there. The top six people at the agency have all been there for 8 years working together. So we kind of like know each other inside and out. And even some of the younger ones, in terms of like maturity, in terms of years working at the company, like we hired one person last year. We hired two people last year. I don't know. We hired one or two people last year, but we hired her because one of our account managers, Kathleen, went out on maternity leave. So she's back now. She came back at the beginning of, or at the end of March, beginning of April, after being out with twins. And, Kristen, who I think is our newest hire, she's been here for 8, 9 months, coming up on a year, and that's what it is. The other thing I'm really proud of, and this is something like I don't think a lot of business owners do a good job of this. We had a young lady who left DSM after 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, a few months ago, but she was able to parlay. She handled our healthcare clients, our national healthcare clients, and she was able to parlay that into a new job at CVS internally in their marketing department. And that speaks volumes. Like when you're working at CVS, like proper, it's a big company. It's, Fortune 500. They're hiring people with chops. So to be able to have somebody work here. She was here for a long time, but on the personal side, went through a lot of family things that she went through with her. To lose her, it was bittersweet. Did we want to lose her? No, she did a great job at doing her job, but it was also awesome to see her go on to a new job at CVS and be like, her training helped her get that job. And so it was,
Mhm.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can see how that would be bittersweet. It's like, we trained her so good. Now this Fortune 500 company wants her. You're like,
Yeah, but you know what? Like, we also understand our limitations. So obviously, we're not going to be able to pay somebody what CVS pays
hmm
their employees and things like that. They have way more resources than we do. Um,
hmm
so, like one of our young ladies who we hired last summer, she was an intern and then came on. Like, her last day was last Tuesday. And it wasn't because it was like acrimonious or anything. Her brother got the opportunity, went through the McDonald's training program and is opening, three McDonald's, or is getting the opportunity to buy three McDonald's down in Orlando, Florida. And, she's going in with her brother and her other brother to be able to build up the business for this opportunity. Like, those are all things that I'm proud of, I
hmm
would love when you find a good group of people and they all work well together. Yeah, like there's no value you can put on that. I've been doing this long enough that, we've had good people, we've had bad people, we've had crazy people, like it's everything in between. We've
hmm
probably employed now over the last 18 years, we've probably employed over 100 people at different
Wow.
points in their lives. And so as you get older, as I get older at least, it's cool to see folks getting married, folks buying their first house, folks having their first kid, folks getting engaged, folks having issues with their parents with health issues. Like, you get to go through everything. And like, I know family and business is like a bad word now, but like, you try to make it an environment where people feel like they're being heard and they're being cared for. You can't do everything
hmm
right. You're never going to make everybody right, or you're never going to make everybody happy all the time.
hmm
Try to do the best that you can with the resources that you have. And I feel like we've done a pretty good job of that over the last, 2 decades.
hmm Yeah, they say you should call your coworkers like team members and not family. So, if you need to move on or they need to leave, whatever. But it does seem to create such a wonderful work environment when it feels like a family, You have great like dad energy, if I can be so bold.
Yeah. Well, for me, in transparency, and apologize for swearing a little bit, but I think it's bullshit, man. Like, you could say all the things you want to say, and if your actions don't say the same thing, if people don't know, if you say something like, if you need this time, take this time. And then if somebody says it and they're like, oh, you can't take that time, like, or whatever it may be.
hmm
Actions speak louder than words. And so you could say whatever you want. I could call them family, I could call them team members. Like, I just want people to know here that, like, I got their back.
hmm
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of what it's all about. And you see companies that are way more successful than we ever will be, like, and uh, you know, I'm just proud of the way we handle our business. I think that's,
hmm
you know, I think that's the most important thing. And if you're going to say
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
like, make sure your actions follow.
Yeah, that's great, man. I would attribute a lot of your success to that, extending that vibe and that care. You say it's serendipitous and luck, but it's, you genuinely care for people and they, work their tails off for you. So
Hey, I hope so. One of our,
yeah.
our guys last week had his, he's got a cat and ended up in a, I mean, it's not like an earth-shattering thing, but one of his cats got sick. He was in the vet overnight and somehow managed, like, it was like last Thursday. And he wrote a text early in the morning. He's like, yo, I'm taking the morning off because like I was in the vet all night, but I managed to get all three campaigns that needed to get up. He got home at like 4:30 in the morning and did all the campaigns at 4:30 in the morning that needed to get
Oh my
up.
gosh. Wow.
And, I was like, wow, like that's, yeah, I just said to him, I'm like, don't even take a PTO, like, but just take the day. Doesn't even need to be a paid PTO day. Just take the day.
Hmm.
You wake up. If you wake up at 2 in the afternoon, get up, check back on, and if you feel like whatever. But like we got you today. And the note he sent the next morning was, it was nice. He's like, look, I appreciate you guys helping me out. But on the flip side of it, he didn't need to get those three campaigns set up for at 4:30 in the morning when he got home because he knew he was just going to be shot the whole morning, the next morning. But that's
Hmm.
kind of like the accountability side of it. It's reciprocal. If you do the right thing by people, usually they'll do, and that's just like I said, that's just a small thing that was done. But the people here know that if they need to take time, we've had folks at the agency lose a grandparent, have to travel out of state for like the wake and funeral or whatever it is. Like you take what you need.
Hmm.
That's more important.
Yeah. And I think that's I hope your your team knows how like special that is. Like for anyone that's worked at a big company or
Hey, it's
big
not like
brand, no, it is
yeah.
it's a bit soul crushing. So that's really refreshing, man. That's awesome. So I want to we're gonna wrap up here soon, but I want to talk about growth. Are you are you growing? Or are you kind of solid? Or are you looking to keep doing this? What's on the horizon for you?
Always growing. That's basically what I do here now. It's all the new relationships, new biz, everything kind of starts with me, and then I bring it into the team. And then we have, our head of accounts, Meredith, and our head of accounts, Dan, who help me out with the sales stuff for for the purpose of like making sure that I'm not over promising on something that the team can't deliver. Like when we're putting together the
Hmm.
proposals, I kind of turn it over to them. Like the relationship side of it is me. And then I turn it over to them to say, like, look, here's what we can do, here's what we can't do. And to Dan's credit, Dan is our VP of strategy. He kind of runs point on all that stuff from a like a high level, and then the team executes it, whether it's the creative side or the account team or whatever. But yeah, we're always growing. I mean, that's what the name of the game is. If you're stagnant, you're kind of dying.
Hmm.
Especially in a vertical like ours. There's so much competition now, and it's not like we're kind of in that weird. As much as I love running a team of 15 to 20 people, in our world, there's kind of a if you're like under 10 people, you could be like really, and it's easier now with like AI and offshoring and things like that. But a lot of the work we do, we could probably be smaller, but I'm big on relationships. And so like chat GPT or AI, like yes, it's going to be a part of what we do going forward, but it's never going to take the place of a human.
Hmm.
You always need that. Like there's ways they're there, in my opinion, as efficiencies, not as replacing the human element. Because I mean, we've run some tests with like, you put some crazy stuff into like Chat GPT and it spits out like something that's 40% done. But there's a lot of people in our world that'll go to market with that 40% piece of, polished turd. Like just it sucks. And so
Yeah.
it's funny too. A lot of what we do in terms of the growth side of things. A lot of what we're doing, we are triage specialists. So we'll come in when somebody else screws up, one of our prospect or clients' account, and they'll be like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. And then we
Hmm.
have to come in and we have to fix stuff, and then we get it going in the right direction. And then they see the value of like, yeah, we're more expensive or we're not the cheapest, but marketing is like it's like a gym membership. You get out of it what you put in. If you have a membership to the world's best gym, but you never use it, you're probably going to be like a fat turd. So,
Hmm.
like I don't know how else to say it. You really, you're always growing, but we're trying to find like-minded clients. I think that's important. Like we're not for everybody, and that's cool.
Hmm.
We always try to be helpful and be a resource because a lot of the new people that come to us are through, relationships that we have in our network. So you try to be helpful, you try to be a resource, but sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes we're too much money, or sometimes, it's not the right fit, or we're not our specialty doesn't fit into what they need. And you just be honest and try to be as helpful as possible. I think that's never hurt me in my 18-year career of running this place.
Hmm. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. We are about at the end of our time. I have one final question for you.
Sure.
You may have already answered it, but I have to ask it. The
Yeah.
question, it's an open-ended question. You take it in any direction that you like. And the
Yeah.
question is, what are you working towards?
What am I working towards? Ultimately, I would love to shoot consistently in the 80s on a golf course. I kind of,
Amen.
yeah, that's my hope and I mean, my goal is to run this place for as long as I can, and help people to have a career where they're doing good work and they're proud of their work, but they're also like they have availability to their family. That is a big piece for me. Before I ever had kids, I coached football for my hometown where I played and I grew up with
Hmm.
my brother-in-law and a buddy of ours. And now I just got done with a 6-year run with my son. He's going to be going to high school next year. And
Cool.
it was probably the most rewarding thing that I anything I've done in business has been awesome, but getting to coach Luca for the last 6 years and
Hmm.
they had a special team and they won like 5 straight Super Bowls and 55 straight games. And it was
Wow.
getting to do that was one of if you check out my LinkedIn profile back in like from like August of last year through November of last year, I did this series called like Hard Knocks Franklin Lakes. It's like every week of their season, I like dialogued it and like kind of like laid it all out because I wanted it to be like remembered, whatever, so I could remember it and go back to it. It's probably been the most rewarding thing. And everybody that's at the company they're at different points in their lives and they have their families, and I know all their families pretty well. And that's probably the most rewarding thing for me.
Hmm.
Being able to have these relationships, over 18 years. Not every relationship ends great, like there's been some down moments too. But having the opportunity to do this, I would never trade it in. I would never trade it in.
Hmm.
The good days far outweigh the bad.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
thankful and blessed that I've been able to do it. There are people that started here as interns, they're married now. Like they didn't know each other before they started working here.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Yeah.
it's been a cool ride.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing all that. Where can my audience find out more about you?
Sure. My LinkedIn profile, I do a lot on LinkedIn. So at Darren Magarro, Darren, and then Magarro. You can check me out there on our website, the DSMgroup.com. We just launched a new website 2 weeks ago. Shout out to our developer, Sierra DeBlanc, who put that together in our creative team. Um, and we're on all the socials on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I think we're on TikTok now. I don't know. I only have so much time. I can't get involved in all the socials at this point. But the big
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
are on. And yeah, those are the main places you could check us out. And you know, here is a resource. When I do these things, I go on. and I've kind of followed the entrepreneurial blueprint to a T. It's probably my main strength. So I joke that I'm the LVP of our team. So I get a lot of requests whenever I do these things. I say, if I could be a resource, you don't know how many people have come on after I've done a podcast or whatever, and they're like, "Can you look at this proposal? I don't know what I'm looking at." I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to help.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of where
yeah.
I'm at. That's the end goal. But the end goal at the end of the summer of 2025, I'm gonna shoot an 85 in golf.
Hell yes. Will be. I can see it now, Darren.
All right.
You got
From
this.
your lips to God's ears, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, really appreciate you coming on. You're an
Uh,
awesome dude.
Thank you.
Your success, you care. You care about people, you care about outcomes, you care about your clients and your teammates and your family, and you wear that on your sleeve. And, great things happen because, if you believe in karma, like you're just putting great stuff out there and it's coming back tenfold. So,
Thank you.
I'm honored to have spent this time with you. It warms my heart. All we hear is terrible news all the time. And then, get to meet someone like you. I'm like, okay, why don't we hear more about this guy?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It just, yeah.
It's important. Everybody who might be listening to this, check out it's got nothing to do with me, but I put a post that I saw yesterday. It was about Peyton Manning. He was
Mhm.
at an awards gala and he was wearing a tuxedo, whatever, like, and this little kid was supposed to be, he won like a contest and was supposed to be introducing him. And the kid was probably, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years old. And there's a picture of Peyton Manning with the boy, and the boy was like flipping out, like crying. He's like so nervous and scared to do it. And it's just a picture of Peyton Manning sitting on the floor listening to him, and he gave him his bow tie and said,
Oh,
"Wear this bow tie when you go out there." And now the kid has it in like a trophy case.
oh, cool.
But Peyton Manning gave him his bow tie, and he's like, sometimes you just need to like sit and listen to people. You don't need to say anything.
Yeah.
It's a great story. So
Amen. Amen. Cool. All right. To all our listeners out there, thanks so much for tuning in and keep on growing out there, everybody. See ya.